I'm Chrissy Heaton, and I serve as the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Transitions and Family Engagement. So that means I have oversight over our orientation and family engagement area, first year experiences, our peer advocate leaders, which is peer mentoring in our FYE program, our pre-collegiate access program, our TRIO programs, which we have both our student support services and McNair Scholars as a part of that. So I work a lot with new students and new families. And so on behalf of our entire Steffi team, we are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Before I kind of chit chat a little bit with you, I love to kind of get a feel for who's in the room. If there's a silver lining from the past couple of years, it's that spaces like this can connect us and we can be all over. So just to make sure your chat functioning is working just fine, if you all could maybe type in the chat what your name is and where you're zooming in from today. So I'm here in Denver. Again, I'm Christy. I am zooming in from Denver. Joy from Aspen. Awesome. I don't know what your weather like is up in Aspen, Joy, but we are getting rain right now here in Denver. St. Louis. Shout out Midwest. I'm from the Midwest originally. LA, more Denver folks, Dallas, Kansas, Broomfield. Oh, the weather's beautiful, Joy, up in Aspen. Well, we're jealous down here in Denver. Highlands Ranch, Lake Tahoe, awesome. Okay, great. So we have a variety of folks in the room. That's reflective of our student body. We have a really diverse student body that come from in-state, out-of-state, as well as international. Oh, wow, Palm Beach, Florida. Devin, that might be the furthest Zoom that we have today. Houston, awesome. Now, if you can do me a favor, I want you to type in the chat, maybe a question or a concern or something you're looking forward to about your student starting college here at CU Denver. Either a general question, a concern, or something you're looking forward to, just to kind of get a feel for where people's heads are at. No parking spots or single rooms available. Okay, so we got some parking and housing concerns. Let's see what else we have showing up. I know for me personally, one of the things I look forward to each year with new students is just establishing those connections throughout the summer. We have many summer programs, as you probably already know, that your students are participating in. And then come July and August, we have in-person programs. So it's really fun then to kind of, you've seen these students throughout the summer in a tiny square and then get to see them in person and make those connections. Campus safety and security fair, social engagement. Yes, absolutely. Learning disability needs. Yep. Great question. Great thought. Okay. So today is about that, right? So you're going to get the opportunity to connect with a lot of our staff here that are presenting, and we'll share resources and definitely ask questions throughout. Please use this chat function, but you're going to learn a lot of the things that your students are also learning when they're at their orientation program. So CU Denver, we pride ourselves on being very student-centered. Our team is very student-centered. We want to make sure that your students and you feel connected to each other, to their peers, and to their campus resources. And so social engagement, a couple people I see said that, we get that, especially coming out of the pandemic. We've seen that reflected in our students that are like, I'm tired of just chatting with people in spaces like this. I want that social connection and social engagement. And we know that students who are connected outside of the classroom as well are going to be more successful. Yes, we want you to go to class, and yes, we want you to get good grades, whatever that looks like for you, but we also want you to engage outside of the classroom with staff, with faculty, and with your peers. So again, we have a great program set up for you today. Shelby and Alicia, my colleagues in orientation and family engagement, have some really great staff here that are going to answer some of those questions, that are going to talk to you about mental health resources, about a lot of those questions. Our staff is also, we have several staff in the room today too, keeping an eye on the chat. So as you post questions, if the presenters aren't able to get to them right away, we'll keep an eye and respond to what we can, or also make sure that the presenters are engaged. I'm going to also, I do this every year as well. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I always say, reach out to me if you have questions, but I really, truly mean it. So here's my personal email address. It's christy.heaton@ucdenver.edu. I love connecting with family members of students, and it's fun to see you when you arrive in the fall, or if you come participate in our family day, which Shelby or Alicia will tell you more about later. But please make sure that you email me if you have questions, if you want to say hi, if you want to have concerns, but enjoy this program. Again, ask the questions. We're here to help you transition as well. I mean, you're a student going to college. Yes, they're going to be the ones here, but families are instrumental to student success in higher education. And so we value you as well. And so welcome. I look forward to meeting many of you in person, and I think I am kicking it maybe to Alicia. Thank you.
Actually, so I'll go ahead and take over now. So thank you so much, Christy. And I'm going to pass it over to Brooke to go over some mental health resources. So Brooke, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Brooke Trujillo. I'm the Dean of Students here at CU Denver. So I'm going to talk a lot about, I saw some of the concerns in the chat as far as like resources related to mental health or support, advocacy stuff, campus safety, kind of a lot of things being thrown around there. I'm hoping that I can answer some of those for you. Shelby, are you going to share the slides, or do you want me to share the slides?
You can go ahead and share, and then if there are any tech issues, I will take over.
All right. All right, how's that coming through? Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to focus on health a little bit, specifically mental health, but health in general is kind of tied in here. So life transitions are tough. We're here to help with those. This is obviously a very exciting time for students, but it's also a big change and transition for a lot of students. So to kind of shape our conversation today, I want us to kind of get in the mindset of thinking about some of those common stressors when we're thinking about adjusting to college. So, you know, students are excited, but they also might get homesick. They're in a new environment. That might be coming from out of state. That might be coming right down the street and commuting, but, you know, trying to figure out some of those things you shared. Where do I park? Where's my class? How far a walk is this building to this building? So just navigating some of those things initially can cause some stress, of course. And then we look at college level academic performance, right? This is going to look different than high school. There's not going to be as much follow-up from teachers and things like that, making sure that students are submitting their assignments. There's a lot more autonomy and independence coming to college. And so what are those expectations, and how is your student expected to, you know, time manage and plan for assignments and things like that? Developing new relationships, I think students getting involved, of course, helps build out some of those connections, and we really want to encourage that. Exposure to different things, right? They're going to be taking classes maybe for the first time on a business class or a psychology class, maybe an ethics class, and learning a bunch of new things, and kind of opening mindsets and things like that, shifting perspectives, differing perspectives, and just figuring out what they want to study and all that kind of stuff. So I also always like to add, maybe there'll be a lack of sleep, some nutritional changes, time management. So making sure that folks are planning for that, as well as they might still need you to follow up with them and make sure they're eating healthy and not skipping breakfast, things like that. So diving right into some of the resources on campus that we have. We have a counseling center on campus. It is free for your students. It's already included in their student fees. So there's no out-of-pocket cost for that. They are able to have 10 sessions per year. They'll do an intake, and then 10 sessions per year from there. If they need any kind of longer term support or therapy, or they want longer term support or therapy, the counseling center can certainly help navigate finding resources that are close to them in location, accept insurance if that's a piece. So kind of planning for that longer term bridge if we need to. Our counseling center is confidential, and they do individual, couple, and family counseling services. They also do a lot of stuff on campus that's a little bit more informal, but helps engage folks in coping skills and things like that, even if they're not being seen in a traditional therapy setting. So they will set up in different classrooms around campus, have drop-ins that are called Let's Talk, where students can ask a question. They can, ask like, hey, if I'm, feeling this way about whenever I'm taking a test, like what can I do for them? And they can, give them some tips. They also do like stress screenings and things like that around high stress points in the semester. So that is the counseling center. We also have a health center on campus that has both primary care and psychiatric care. For purposes of my presentation, I just kind of really focused on the mental health aspect of their care, but they are a full service health center. They accept most major insurances and also Medicaid, which is new and we're excited about. So it can be more accessible to students. So they are able to do medication assessments if we're looking at any kind of diagnosis. Maybe a student has had anxiety, for example, through high school. They're moving and are trying to figure out, how am I going to maintain, my anxiety medications, and who's going to do that? The health center would be a great place to go for that. They have walk-in appointments if a student is, experiencing a lot of stress. Maybe they had a breakup, something like that. They also have walk-in appointments with a mental health provider who can just kind of help ground, make a plan, and get them some support. I know I'm going pretty quick, but I want to make sure we get to everything, and then we'll certainly answer questions. So case management is kind of, I like to describe it as like a resource hub on campus. So case management works with students individually and knows a lot of the resources that we have here at CU Denver and in the community. We have what's called a care report, which I will get to in a little bit, but we have a care report that anyone can submit on campus: faculty, staff, housing, family, friends, other students. If they're worried about a student or think that they could use some additional support, they can submit a care referral, and our case management folks will reach out and say, hey, we heard you might be having a tough time. Let's talk and figure out what's going on, and if there's resources that we can connect you with. They really take a holistic approach to finding out what's impacting a student. So maybe they didn't do as well as they wanted to on their first exam, or maybe they're hoping to build a study group, but they're not quite sure where to go or how to start that. Or maybe it's a high stress time and they're noticing that they're having some anxiety, as an example. Case management's going to kind of get them where they need to go and support them through that, navigating processes and stuff like that. The other thing of note with case management I'll mention is they oversee the medical withdrawal process. So let's say your student experiences a medical or mental health experience during the semester and they're unable to complete that semester with medical documentation. We're able to help them get fully withdrawn through that process. So if that would be something that comes up, there is processes that can help, kind of a one-stop shop, alleviate, I guess, it withdraws them. It helps get their GPA not to be impacted, and it also helps with getting financial reimbursement. So keep that in mind if that would be something that comes up. Disability resources and services. So for anyone whose student was on an IEP or 504 plan in high school, I would certainly encourage you to ask your student to engage with the Disability Resources and Services Office. They can look at getting accommodations and registering for those accommodations. And what I always tell students is sometimes I have students who maybe were on an IEP plan in high school but don't want to have accommodations in college. That's fine. I still always encourage students to set them up ahead of time. And if you don't ever need them, that's fine. But if you do need them, they're already in place, because differently than high school, our accommodations in higher ed it requires the student to take the initiative, get registered, to provide those accommodation letters to their faculty, and they are not able to go retroactive. So wanting to have that in place in case they need it, if that's something that they think they would benefit from. So that's my plug, I guess. Encourage you all to get in there as soon as possible so that they're set up for fall if your student needs that. Our Phoenix Center at Auraria is our office on campus that addresses those impacted by interpersonal violence. So looking at that relationship violence, sexual violence, stalking. They provide advocacy, direct one-on-one support to those impacted by IPV, those who maybe have a loved one or a friend or a family member who's experiencing that. And then they also do tons of prevention workshops and stuff. So workshops around what does a healthy relationship look like as an adult? What is consent, and how do we make sure we have clear consent in relationships? So they do programming all throughout the semester, but they also have a 24/7 helpline and can certainly consult, give advice. If your student maybe has a friend that they're worried about or worried about their friend's relationship, definitely a great place to go. They're a confidential resource on campus. Okay, and then we have our wellness center. So we have a big wellness center. If you've been to campus, then you've seen it. If not, it is right on Spear on Main Street, huge wellness center. And the students are able to access that just by being a student. So no additional cost for that. It's a full gym. We have basketball courts, a climbing wall. We have a 6-lane pool. There's even napping spaces in here. So really looking at holistic wellness and what students might need. There's a game lounge with video games. We also have one of the things I think is really cool that they do is an adventure rental shop. So if your student wants to go camping, they can rent tents, sleeping bags. They put together trips for like snowboarding and skiing in the winter, all kinds of different stuff that they can get involved with there. They do group fitness, they have wellness coaching, and then they also have things like financial coaching. So your student is getting their loans and their grants, maybe here's the amount. They can meet with a financial coach to plan for a budget for the year. So those are some of the highlights there. There's more, of course, in there. I guess one other thing I'll note is there's also a food pantry. So any students who might be facing food insecurity are more than able to access the food pantry and get things there. Okay, our care team. So I talked a little bit about case management and care referral, just mentioned it really briefly. Care team for us stands for Campus Assessment, Response, and Evaluation Team. We are a multidisciplinary team that meets weekly to talk about students who there are concerns for health and safety for. Those range very widely. We get referrals for students for lower level things, like some of the things I've just talked about. Maybe folks are having a hard time adjusting to college. Maybe they are having trouble navigating some of the university systems, things like that. Case management is going to get them where they need to go. Also students who might be having newly emerging mental health issues or mental health issues that have been exacerbated by, midterm exams and all of the newness that college is. And then we also address concerns that are more serious, any thoughts of suicide attempts, or harm to others. So kind of wide range right there. But our job and what the care team is charged with is addressing health and safety concerns on campus. So that is a little bit about the care team. Like I mentioned, anybody can submit a care report. The vast majority of our care reports come from faculty, staff, and housing, but other students do report either for themselves, or maybe they're worried about a classmate or a roommate. They know they're going through something difficult and just think they can use some additional support. We're there to reach out to them and get them support. You all are absolutely able as well to submit a care report if you're worried about your student. If you just want them to know about more resources, absolutely, that's something that you can do on your own. So there's one, let me see if I still have the URL linked so I can put it in the chat when I'm done. But it's a little outdated, it's 2016, but JED and the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI, put out a guide that is starting the conversation, College and Your Mental Health. And it is a guide for students and families or support systems, friends, to look at mental health. What might be coming up as you prepare to come to college? What might be some of the stressors, sort of like we talked about? And then also, how can we plan for support and make sure that if a student is experiencing stressors, that they're not doing it alone? Changes to look for in students, of course, you know your student, but we definitely want to pay attention to if they're feeling, very sad or withdrawn, abnormal for them for longer periods of time. If they're feeling suddenly really overwhelmed, stressed out, fearful, and there doesn't seem to be a reason that that's happening for them. If you see that we they're having extreme difficulty in concentrating, really unable to focus on classes. So there's a lot of things on here, but those are some of the things that stand out. Of course, any thoughts of self-harm, suicide, anything like that. Those are things that we would want you to submit care reports for, but I can throw the link in the chat when we're done. I would also encourage you to just take a look at that guide, because it really is about you as a support person having a conversation with your student before they come to campus to make sure they're set up for success. Do they know that we have some of these resources and where to go if they need them? So ways that you can just help from the outset are encouraging students to get involved. Encourage them to attend campus events, join student organizations, join a study group with classmates, meet with the faculty. I think they probably say this in the orientation to students too, but faculty want students to use their office hours. And so encouraging them to do that. I think what we know is that we have a very positive outcomes, especially for students, and it's tied students who get involved. So that has positive outcomes for academics, but also just personally, satisfaction, all those types of things. So benefits there. I think also checking in about just how they're managing stress. Do they like to exercise before, and are they still doing that? Or has that kind of fallen off as they're joining college? Sleep habits, taking times for friends and family, and having fun. Of course, we might have students who are engaging in too much fun, and the academics are going to the wayside, but also on the opposite side of the spectrum there, want to make sure that we're not having students feeling so focused on their academics that they're not taking time for themselves or their friends or family or for fun, because that has its own impacts. So checking in there. And then if you're worried or you think they need some support, certainly encouraging them to visit one of the resources I talked about, the counseling center, case management, or if you're more comfortable, you can submit a care report for them and we'll reach out just to see how they're doing. Okay, this one's showing up a little wonky. Sorry for the overlapping text there, but we talked about a lot of resources on this page already. A few others, though, I want to highlight is You at CU Denver is an online platform that your student can then get involved and engage with. It has tons of stuff. It has articles and tips on managing stress. It has goal setting things. So whether that's academic goals, health goals, all kinds of different, you can kind of set like when you want to accomplish that goal, and it'll tell you where on campus might be able to help you do that. So here's resources if you want to join a study group that you can do that at. So that's a really cool platform that students can access. We talked about a lot of the other ones. I think the other one I'll mention is the Auraria Campus Police Department. So we have a police department on campus. Yes, we're in the center of Denver, but they work in collaboration with DPD, but our own Auraria Campus Police really manage our campus issues, which is awesome. One of their officers sits on our care team. So we have a really good relationship with them, and they're very student focused, which is great. I always encourage students to, and you as parents, if you want to have their numbers written down. They have a cool feature called Text a Tip, and that number is listed in here, where let's say a student is in a situation and they can take a picture of it. They can, snap that picture, text it to the police department. Also, maybe they're in a place where something's going on and they want to alert police, but they don't necessarily feel like they can make a call. They can text and say, hey, I'm over at this location on campus, and I'm worried this person's not doing well. They might need some support, or there's a concern there. So that is kind of the police department's contact information there. That is it for my slides, but I know I went through that super quickly and want to make sure that I also have time for questions. And if there's anything in the chat, or if you all have questions, more specifically, I'm happy to answer those.
Yeah, I was having a question about insurance, health insurance for students only.
Sure.
So
is your question just if we offer health insurance?
yes, and how to enroll that, if you do offer.
Yeah, thanks. Good question. So unfortunately, we do not have our own student health insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. They do take like the health center takes a lot of major insurance. They also take Medicaid, like I mentioned. But unfortunately, there is not CU Denver specific health insurance.
Okay.
Let me look at the chat too.
Yeah, I think we responded to
Okay, great.
most of them in the chat, but we will also be sending out an email with all of this information for everyone as well. So thank you so much, Brooke.
Yes, of course. And I'm going to pop the that link that I said, the parent and support system kind of guide, if you all want to take a look at that as it pertains to mental health ahead of time. But thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. So now we are going to pop on over to Angelo, and he is going to discuss the Learning Resources Center. Angelo, take it away.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining and for being part of this orientation. A ton of resources that hopefully you're going to take away from this. And what I'll be presenting on today are academic resources along with learning resources that we offer here in the Learning Resources Center. So, yep, my name is Angelo Gallegos, and I am a learning support specialist here. So I help students with their learning skills and with study skills. So I do that through one-on-one coaching along with workshop settings, which I'll go over in the presentation here in a second. But if you all want to, at any moment, take a look at our website, I went ahead and threw that in the chat. But I'm going to go through our presentation now. Okay, awesome. So a few of the questions that we get here in the Learning Resources Center from students, as far as learning and academic support goes, are things like, I want to study more efficiently, procrastinate less, they want to manage their time better, they don't want anxiety to get in the way of their studying or how well they do on tests. They'd also like to retain information for the long term. I think that what we really hone on here is not just the skills that they're learning to be academically successful, but also those that are going to apply to their careers in the future. So that's really what we focus on here. We do work quite a bit with first-year students, but we do work with students all throughout their post-undergraduate and even some graduate degrees. So today I just wanted to go over a few tips on how you can best support your students. So first, learn about their classes. Some of our students are taking 12 credits, some of them are taking 6, depending on what their workload will look like, and if they're full-time or part-time. But really ask them throughout the course of the semester, what's challenging? Are there any areas of, of skills that in their academics that they need to build on? What are they enjoying about their classes? Is there anything particular that they're finding a strong interest in? What is something new or intriguing that they've learned? University is a time of exploration, and I think for a lot of our students, the first semester can be filled with all sorts of opportunities for growth and for learning new skills or at least new ideas. Remind them about the free resources that are offered to them, so including peer tutoring, which is offered for free here through the Learning Resources Center. The students who are vetted to provide free tutoring through the LRC are students who have passed these courses in the past with at least a B+, if not an A or higher. So they work one-on-one or in small group setting with students for traditionally difficult courses such as chemistry, biology, anatomy, sometimes physics. Every semester we change the schedule depending on what the need is, but usually those courses that are traditionally most difficult. We also offer supplemental learning. So this is where we have a learning specialist sit in on some of these traditionally difficult courses and provide the students with support after the class ends. So almost like class 1.5, almost like a follow-up course for some of these classes, especially useful before exams and before test dates. And then lastly, we also have boost sessions. So these are intensive mini courses that take place at the end of the summer semester and then fall into the beginning of the fall semester as well, to help students get a head start on some of these more traditionally difficult classes, such as genetics, chem, OChem, things like that. Next, I would advocate that we also normalize the learning process. As we know, for those of us who have been in higher ed before, it's sometimes hard, it's difficult, and that's normal. As a time of exploration, I think it is good for them to be able to stretch their limits and to be able to stretch their abilities. Also, remind them to avoid comparisons and that learning is individualized, especially in university. And what really comes into play there is some of the academic coaching that myself and my colleague Michelle provide. So a few other concerns that we hear from students are they feel like they never have enough time. They seem to have this study approach that where no matter how much or how many hours they put into it each week, it doesn't really show on their exams, or they're just not feeling motivated to do their work. And so with students, they'll sit down with myself and my colleague Michelle and build out an individualized plan. Where first we'll start up with asking them, about their degree program. What is it that motivated them to enter the program? What does their course load look like? Some of their interests. And then we leave it up to them to decide or to determine what's going on, and not necessarily what's wrong, but more like what can we improve. So sometimes it is time management, sometimes it's test taking skills, sometimes that's how do they avoid procrastination, time management, stress management, wellness, and final exam prep. And then we build individualized strategies with each one of them to help them succeed throughout the semester. Lastly, let's see, you gotta move this chat box out of the way. Learning approaches can vary. So we have to recognize that studying for each one of their classes is different. As we know, some of the hard sciences compared to the social sciences are gonna be approached differently. So luckily for them, they have a ton of resources at their disposal to be able to prepare for these classes, including TutorMe. It's a 24/7 online platform where students can access an array of courses, over 300 courses for free. So over the weekends, after hours, this is supposed to supplement their learning in a way that, let's say, for example, we offer anatomy here in the Learning Resources Center, but only during certain days and time blocks. While they could gain additional support after classes or on the weekends online. And we call it the Uber for tutoring. So this is also free for them. As I mentioned earlier, we also do interactive study skills workshops. So some of these are some of these are online, some of them are in person. We've had as few as 5 students per group or as many as 25 students. And it's really neat. It's a good way for them to meet other students who are either part of their degree or outside of their degree, but who all have a common goal of learning these different skills. So we do have those, and those are also free for students. And then here in the Learning Hub, we also have math and stat support. So math and stat tutoring along with writing tutoring. So for those students who need additional support in those areas. So that's the Learning Hub. We're here in the Learning Commons. So those are the 3 offices that are housed here. And yeah, we share support where we share a space to be able to provide the most support possible for students. I wanted to throw a plug up there for our website. So if anybody wants to take a picture of our QR code in the top right corner, here's a sample of the different things that we provide here in the Learning Resource Center. So the workshops I mentioned, peer tutoring, weekly review sessions, RISE, that's resources for immigrant and English language learner students, coaching, async courses. So async, these are asynchronous materials for some difficult courses that some students of ours put together to help students come exam day, 24/7 online tutoring, and then ambassadors for our immigrant students. And they're all for free. And so we're pretty cool. We're like friendly, fun people here in the LRC. So yeah, please go ahead and send your students our way. And yeah, I think that's it for my presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'll be here for a few more minutes.
Thank you so much, Angelo. I actually do not see any questions in the chat, but if folks have those, please go ahead. Angelo will hang out here for a little bit longer. All right, so we are going to transition now into some modules for everybody. So I'm going to post a few things in the chat for folks. So the first thing is going to be the link to the modules that I'm going to go over. In order to access those, you will need to set up an account. I have also attached a PDF document that walks you through enrolling in the modules that we will cover. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, so can everybody see my screen okay? Yeah, I see Christy nodding. Thank you, Christy. All right.
Yes.
So welcome. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some important information here with these modules that you will be able to access once you create that account. So let's open up this one. Once you come in, you'll see a bunch of different tabs. These are full of various resources, a lot of campus information. These modules have been carefully crafted to provide content for the university information. They will cover administrative processes, including transcript submission and immunization records, while shedding light on FERPA, which we will walk through in more in depth. And while we won't cover all of these in this session, it is really important to kind of just go through them so that you get a better feel for what is offered to your students and to you. So we're going to go ahead and click into FERPA. All right. So for those of you who don't know, FERPA is a federal law that safeguards student education records. It stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It grants students the right to access and review their own records, request changes to those records, and control the disclosure of personally identifiable information. These rights shift from parents to students when students turn 18 or start attending a post-secondary institution. Non-directory information like GPA, student ID numbers, class schedules, birth dates, addresses, and social security numbers cannot be released without the student's consent. So we take measures to protect this very sensitive information, and it can only be assessed by or accessed by a parent or third party if your student has filed the FERPA consent to release in their UCD access portal. All right. So now you'll see we have disability resources and services here as well. Below that, we also have billing information and financial aid information. So you'll find a lot of materials in these tabs right here. However, if you still have any questions about financial aid or billing, we will be hosting a Finances 101 Spotlight session on Wednesday, July 12th from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm going to go over those details and share a QR code with everybody here towards the end of today's session. And then some stuff that Brooke kind of talked about in the Wellness Center that I kind of just want to touch on a little bit is that the Robin Lola Salazar Wellness Center, it's really engaging for students. It's 85,000 square feet. It houses a spa, a rock climbing wall, study spaces, the nap rooms, which a lot of folks just learned about. There are 3 different gym courts. There's a game den. There's a food pantry. There are 2 fitness studios. Like, it has everything that your student could utilize in their downtime or to help them academically, just health, wellness, fitness. They also have 7 dimensions of wellness that they can go over with students as well. But at the food pantry, I just want to touch on, so students can find free food and hygiene products here. And then with the gym, you all are able to get memberships as well. The Wellness Center, if a student sponsors you, you can get a discounted membership, which is really exciting. Okay, oh, we logged out. Okay. So I saw a few questions earlier about campus safety. We do have our own police department for the Aurora Higher Education Center. If you are interested in finding more information about that, you'd be able to access that here. There were also a couple of questions about housing, parking, commuting. We did have a housing and dining spotlight session. I'm going to post that in the chat here in a little bit. We have a recording to that. It is on our family website, and it answered a lot of questions that folks had. Next, we have resources and involvement opportunities. So we have so many resources. The big one for students, it's our student hub. Everything your students need will be in Link Central. There are a lot of offices here that students should get acquainted with. They can schedule appointments to meet with advisors. They can plan and organize. They can gain academic support. There's also Link's Tale, so they can read stories from other students. And there's also information on the Career Center. So the Career Center is really awesome in that they will help students craft resumes. They can do mock interviews to help students prepare for stuff like that. So it's a great resource on campus for students to have. All right. And then within those resources, we also have first year experiences. So your students will hear a lot about first year experiences in their orientation. This program has been dedicated to creating specialized courses that foster a welcoming and a very supportive learning environment for incoming degree-seeking students. These courses are designed to help first-year students adapt to whatever challenges they might be facing coming into college-level coursework. They'll also get a peer advocate leader in these courses as well. All right. And then we have student life and campus community. Here they offer a lot of diverse programs beyond the classroom, help student explore interests, develop leadership skills, connect with peers by running for student government office. You can find organizations and more here. Students can also use on their website, they have a involvement calculator, which will take some of the students' information and then provide personalized recommendations for opportunities that students might not have known existed otherwise. But being involved at CU Denver, it's really awesome because not only does it help your student reach academic improvement, but it creates a sense of belonging, and it also increases graduation rates. And then the next one, I believe, might be the Learning Resource Center, which Angelo talked about. So we're gonna skip that one, but all of the links that he provided you are also in this module. So next up, we have Links Connect. This consolidates 4 offices under one roof. For student support, these offices include Experiential Learning Center, the Career Center, Global Education for Study Abroad, and undergraduate research and creative activities. So each of these offices hosts various events and programs designed to help out students. So you'll be able to, or your students will be able to attend workshops, career fairs. We also have the undergraduate research and creative activities symposium, which is Raucous. It's a campus-wide celebration of student scholarship. And then I believe that is it for the modules that I was going to touch on. But what I am going to do, so I'm going to stop sharing here. And what I am going to share next is just our website so that you can see quickly accessing all of the information that I kind of just touched on. All right, so everybody should be able to see, this is our parent and family website. If you come all the way down to the spotlight sessions, you'll see the housing and dining spotlight session that I had mentioned. I'll also post this in the chat if it hasn't been posted already. You can also find, scrolling all the way down, the calendar. So the academic calendar is very important. This shows when registration begins, when payments are due. If you signed up for a payment plan, the billing calendar will also have all of that information on there for you. So that, I know it was so much information. I just gave you so much, but that is it for my share. And then let me see if there's anything in the chat. All right, I do not see anything. Okay, so we are going to now move into our trio presentation. And I think I saw Daniela and Henry enter. So if they would like to start sharing their screen and introduce themselves. I see Daniela. There we go.
Hello, everyone. I will start meanwhile my colleague is logging in. So my name is Daniela Casarena, and I am the CU Denver Trio Student Support Services Program Coordinator here at CU Denver. And let me share my screen.
Hi, Henry.
Hi, everybody. My name is Henry Ornelas, and I'm the Program Manager for the TRIO Student Support Services Program.
All right. And Henry and Daniela, you can take it away.
All right. Well, TRIO Student Support Services is a federally funded program, and we work with students who identify as first-generation college students, students who are low income, or students with a documented disability, and registered with our Disability Resource and Service Center. And so I like to say we're home away from home, where students can gather to build community within our TRIO office. And so I identify as a first-gen college student, and I also went through a TRIO program and several TRIO programs as well. And so that's who we work with, and we're a federal grant program, and we work with 165 students per year. And so we have a rich history in terms of TRIO programs across the nation. We have TRIO Upward Bound programs that serve high school students. We have the Veteran Student Upward Bound program that serves veterans, the Educational Opportunity Centers who serve anyone who's 18 and above who wants to come to college, to help them apply for college, submit a FAFSA for the free application for federal student aid. We have Talent Search. And so it's a really big program nationwide. But here on the CU Denver campus, we've been here for over 35 years. And so that's very exciting to me that we have that longstanding relationship here with our colleagues across campus. And so I just wanted to chime in to see if my colleague had any other thoughts on the student support services in general.
Yeah, so with our program here at Trio Student Support Services, the services that we provide for our students include academic support and guidance, peer mentoring and tutorial assistance, career and graduate school preparation, advocacy and personal support. The perk about being in our program as well is that we also give our students a book scholarship. It's very small, but I feel like anything that can help for books. We do also culture and community events. We also have a computer lab and study area for our students. Then we have also leadership development and financial aid guidance, just like my colleague said. So like he said, we serve first generation low income students and students with disability that we help students make sure that they graduate from their undergraduate career. I myself was also in the program during my undergraduate, so this program really helped me graduate. So I've been in Trio also in high school. So this program really helped me a lot just to develop myself professionally, to really help me with study skills as when I was a college student as well. So yeah, so have your students apply if they're interested. I can also share our link in our chat as well if you are interested in looking into more of what we do. Like my colleague said, there is 2 Trio programs on our campus. We have the McNair Scholars as well, and then we have the Student Support Services. So, you know, whatever fits any of your students, please feel free to apply.
And I just wanted to provide a little bit of information about how you would go about in terms of applying to the program. So potential students can visit the CU Denver Trio program page, and they'll be able to find the application, which is the fillable PDF, and they're able to fill it in. We'll need a signature on the application. And once we receive that, we do require tax documentation, financial documentation, since we're federally funded. And then once we receive those, we can go ahead and schedule an interview with the student to see if they're eligible for the program. And so right now for the upcoming year, we're looking to accept about 40 to 45 students. And so we do have some availability for the upcoming year. Is there any questions that you may have?
I do not see any questions in the chat, but Daniela did post the link for everybody to access and then their email address for applications to be sent to. So thank you, Daniela and Henry, very much.
You're welcome. And
awesome. So now I'm going to hand things over to Alicia, and she is going to go over some welcome events.
Thank you. Before I go into the welcome events, I do want to just plug Trio some more in the chat. They are more than just support to our students. They're really a great place for students to go and, talk through the possibilities of what graduate school could look like if they were interested in potentially earning a PhD. It is a great program to help students fill out applications for those, even job applications. So it just encourages your students to really think about connecting with them and do the application. Okay, that's my Trio plug, just because I love them so much. So what I am going to talk to you all about is the welcome events that we have set up for students. So before I do that, I do want to just go back a little bit to the orientation process for our first year students. So students do participate in a 2-part orientation process. Part 1 is going to be on Zoom, and that is where they meet one-on-one with an academic advisor. The advisor does prep for the students, so they know what credits they might be having in. They will prepare what courses the students should register for their first semester. In addition to meeting with an advisor, they also register for courses. So we have what we call orientation leaders, who are current student staff here that will help students navigate the registration system, help them figure out how to build a schedule for the first time, as most of our first year students were the last 4 years just given a schedule saying, these are your classes, these are the days, these are the times. times. So it's a new experience for them to be able to select their days, to select their classes, and the times they want those to happen. So we do a lot of hand holding through that process as well. The last thing they do on their Zoom session is participate in a Just Ask Me session. Again, that is led by our current student staff, and they really point out some important things around the student portal that they should know. They make sure they're able to access their university email, and of course, they give them the opportunity to ask questions. So that's the part 1 of orientation. Part 2 of orientation for first-year students is going to be an on-campus session. This is where they will meet other new students, they'll meet current students, they will get exposed to resources on campus. It is set up as a conference style, so they will be able to select workshops, and we actually will be sending that email out to students this week. So they will need to check their email, confirm their in-person date, and then they'll be able to select what workshops they want to participate in. So an example, or I guess I can list those. So they will have the opportunity to do a student panel. They will get to do a mental health workshop. They will also have a True Colors workshop, and then our Learning Resources Center, so Angelo that presented today, will have an in-depth session with them on those learning resources. But again, it's a workshop. So everything is not the students being talked at, but it's something they can participate in and gain tangible resources that they can start using. So that's my plug for orientation. For the welcome events, the week before the start of the semester, we actually have a full week of events that will happen. So it's the week before the start, which the exact date is going to be August 17th. So starting August 17th, we will have events for students to participate in. And these events actually happen through the first 6 weeks of the semester. So the week before the semester begins, we will have an in-person orientation session for our students living on campus. So if they're living at Links Crossing, or if they're living at City Heights, actually, as a first-year student, they will all be coming to that in-person session. There's also a first generation program in which we do invite parents to participate, have dinner with us, and celebrate the first gen students. One of my favorite days is our Thursday. That is our Connect to Campus. It's sort of a create your own adventure, where a lot of resources or departments on campus will offer events for students to participate in. So they can do things such as maybe a study abroad session. Student Life will be offering things. Our Wellness Center will be offering things. And it is throughout the entire day. So they can pick and choose what they want to do that day. And then one of the more, I guess they're all fun, but one of the more fun events is going to be that Friday on August 18th. So August 18th is our Convocation Day, and Convocation is described as the opening chapter of your college career. So if graduation is the closing bookend, Convocation is the opening bookend, and there's a big ceremony. We do have our Student Life folks there that provide a huge engagement opportunity. We have Playfair come in. They do just a lot of fun activities with students. There's a huge barbecue out on the field and a lot of resources that will table and give swag away. So that's the week before the start of the semester. When the semester does begin, they can look for things like our block party, in which the university closes down one of the streets downtown. We have live music, vendors, student government generally gives the students food vouchers so they can have a free meal. Again, lots of swag, lots of games and activities for them to get involved in. But that's not it. So then they'll also be looking for things like maybe Wake Up Wednesday provided by our first year experiences office. They can stop by, get bagels and donuts in the morning on that Wednesday. There's Pizza with a Professor that comes up over these events, these first 6 weeks as well. So for those folks that were a little bit concerned on, if your student is not able to attend an in-person session, there are a lot of events and activities for them to get involved in. And as their support persons, your role will be to help encourage them to step out of their comfort zone and go participate in some of those events. And we will be having posters on campus. They will get emails about those as well. So it's not necessarily up to them to go and search it. They really just need to start checking their CU Denver emails, and they can see all of the opportunities that will be up and coming. All right, so I do see some questions. Let's see.
Alicia,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a question in the chat. I'm not sure if you saw it. Can you just talk about if there's any type of preparation that the students need to do prior to part 1?
Yes, thank you. So prior to part 1, if your student, I see a question about Alex in their math assessment. If your student is going to pursue a STEM degree, they should take the Alex Math Placement or the assessment, and that is located in their student portal. They should definitely do that. More importantly, they should make sure that they check their emails and they check their dates and show up for the Zoom session. So right now it is June 12th. And if someone has a session tomorrow on June 13th and they're like, oh, I got called into work, or, oh, I just have to cancel because something happens, I would really encourage them to attend their Zoom session because they may not be able to get in until late July. And we want students to come in now because it's easier to register for classes. So we don't want them to have to wait an additional month to get in there. But for the most part, they don't have to prepare too much. They just need to be ready to take notes. Their advisors will tell them, you know, maybe you should take ENGL 1020 and UNIV 1110. They're not going to remember that. So again, they just need to be ready to be present. They need to be ready to log into their email, set up their contact information, register for classes. It is not a passive program. It is not something that they can just sit through and listen. They need to be an active participant. So as far as preparation, I think that's it. Just be prepared to actively participate and take notes. Yeah, so I do see a question. One of the advisors had counseled a student not to participate in an FYE course. It depends on the major. So sometimes maybe it's engineering. Sometimes the major programs are very structured and students their first semester have to take particular or certain courses. For example, the business students, they will need to take a UNIV course. Therefore, they will not be taking a seminar course because they will only take one or the other. So if the advisor is suggested to a student not to take an FYE course, that is okay. It's based off of a good recommendation that that student most likely needs to complete their major courses, or they're in a very structured major that may not allow for that course this first semester. But it is okay. We do have, again, all of these programs they may get connected to. I see a question. If my child is living on campus, they don't need to sign up for a separate orientation since all residents will move in on August 15th. Yes, so if your student is living on campus, they will move in on August 15th. That is a Tuesday. And then on August 16th, that student living on campus will participate in their in-person session. Music is not a STEM degree. So technically, yes, so it has the Bachelor of Science, but that particular program does not require the math course that is needed for the math assessment. And so the Zoom session is specifically for students. If a parent would like to sit off to the side and just be part of that, that's okay. I do ask that you allow your student, though, to take the lead role in that conversation. So when it comes time to asking questions, when it comes time to building the schedule, I do really prefer the student be the driver, if you will, of that conversation, and the parent is the passenger. And if you do need to do like a friendly nudge or reminder, that's fine. But it is really important that the student starts building that relationship with the advising office and really just take the steps so that they can start understanding how they can advocate for themselves. After they do attend their part 1 of orientation on Zoom, they will be able to set up a follow-up meeting with an advisor if they need to. So it's not the end all, it's not the be all. We do also ask students register for as full schedule as possible. So I know some folks would like to sit down and register with their student. However, they are in good hands, and we want to make sure that they are able to get the courses that they need. So if they do need to make adjustments to their schedule, that's fine, but we want to make sure that they don't have any registration issues and they're able to start building those courses. Let's see. That is correct. They do not need to sign up for a separate orientation if they are living on campus. They will need to participate in the August 16th session. Move-in is going to be August 15th. The semester begins on August 21st, and so move-in will happen the week before. Okay, so that's a great question, Natalie, about the student events. All of the welcome events, yes, those are specific to students, with exception of the first gen banquet that is open to families. We will, and you all will receive this information today from Shelby. There is going to be a family social on August 15th in the evening. So your student does not need to be living in housing for you to participate, but that is going to be specific to families. It'll allow you to interact with other families. You'll hear a little bit of information on how the university works, but it won't be necessarily a bunch of talking heads. It really is a time for you to interact with other families and just get comfortable with each other. In September, the last Saturday of September, we will also be having our family day. Shelby and I have been working on planning this already the last couple months. We're excited for it. There will be a brunch for you all to come. Students are also invited, so it's not just that you have to be there. We encourage you to bring your students, and then you'll be able to participate in different workshops as well. During out that day, there'll be an auraria, a displaced Iranian tour, which is different from a campus tour. It goes over more of the history of the campus. We will have some creative activities for you to participate in. Our wellness center will be open. You can utilize the climbing wall. There'll be yoga. So it should be really a fun day for parents to get involved in. And we're also looking at doing the Rockies game that evening as well. So there will be some programs for parents. And then Shelby will also talk to you about the Family Advisory Board, in which we have monthly meetings and we highlight resources. It's a space for you to come get questions asked, and we can help follow up with certain things if needed. Okay, let's see.
I think you got them
I
all.
think that's all of them. All right, cool. I will turn over my virtual mic back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. So as Alicia promised, I'm going to go over our family engagement events. These are going to be the things that you're able to participate in as the parent, family member, or support person of your student coming to CU Denver. So our office, we recognize how important your support is to your student success, whether you know it or not. Your influence does impact what they will accomplish in their college journey. So, all right. As I mentioned earlier, we will be hosting a Finances 101 Spotlight session July 12th from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And here's a QR code that you are able to scan for that. This session is for you to kind of get more information on that really intimidating world that financial aid can be. And you'll be able to ask questions and hopefully get all the answers that you're seeking. Next up, we have the Family Hub and Move-In Day. So August 15th is Move-In Day from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So this day we will have a Family Hub. There's no RSVP required. But you can stop by to get some swag, get some goodies, write a card to your student, just welcoming them to campus. All right, and now this event is just for you. This is the family social. So Alicia talked about the welcome events. Students have so many opportunities to build that links community, meet peers and engage, but this event is for you to do the same. We want you to also strengthen your links community and to build those relationships with other parents and family members who are going through this process with you. Again, we have a QR code for you to scan. The family social is going to be from 5:15 p.m. to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. It is going to be in the Wellness Center. I can post a campus map here towards the end of this session for folks if you're unfamiliar with campus. But here we'll do refreshments. You can connect with staff, faculty. We will actually have Dr. Snowden do a quick welcome presentation for everybody. We'll have an activity for folks, and you'll really just get a taste of what your students are going to experience in the fall. One of the most popular events that we will have this year is our CU Denver Family Day. So Family Day is going to be September 30th. Like Alicia mentioned, we're going to start with a brunch. We're going to have a bunch of activities throughout the day. Angela will be leading one of those. It'll be a learning resource workshop. You'll kind of get a good taste of that classroom life. We're going to have a mock classroom actually with a professor that you can take with your student to really just sit in a classroom, get a feel for the environment. And then also mentioned, we will wrap up the day with a tailgate at Coors Field, and then attend a Rockies game. So there's going to be a lot more information about this being released within the next couple of weeks. There will be an RSVP. You will need to select the activities that you want to do. So just be on the lookout on our family website, on our Facebook page, and in our newsletter. All right, so staying involved. There are a lot of ways that you as the parent, support person, or just a family member can stay involved. So the first is joining our Facebook page. You can scan the QR code here. It'll take you directly to that Facebook page. Here you can ask questions. You'll get feedback from the broader links community. Professors follow that page, different faculty, staff follow that page. Most everybody in our student transitions and family engagement office are also active on the Facebook page. So no matter what time of day you're posting, you'll get a response from somebody. Next up, we have the Student Transitions and Family Engagement newsletter. So this gets sent out once a month and then once in the summer. Our summer newsletter will be coming out the end of the first week of July. So if you haven't signed up for this yet, do that. We will have like the save the date information in there. And our newsletter is just a really good hub to stay connected. You'll see different events posted in here. Based on the time of the year, you'll see different resources. So come finals, there's usually like a petting zoo on campus. You'll be able to find a lot of that information there. And then lastly, we have our family advisory board. So if you're interested in joining our family advisory board, please email us at family@ucdenver.edu. This space is just for parents, family members, support persons. No students will be here. You'll get to help us direct our mission. It's pretty much just a group of other folks who help us plan and volunteer at events if we need them. And you can come here, ask your questions in a safe space where your student isn't going to be here to say, Mom, Dad, don't ask that question. So you'll get a lot of personalized information here. We also ask these folks for feedback through surveys and everything like that. So if you are interested in any of this information, again, please scan those QR codes and send us an email. And that is it for family engagement. So welcome to CU Denver and to our Links community. Again, if you would like to connect with us, you can email us at family@ucdenver.edu. You can also visit our website. I will post that link in the chat. There are links to all of the information that I discussed today on our website, along with all of the RSVP information. If you're curious what our previous newsletters look like, all of those are on the website as well, along with different events that parents and guests can attend and all of those calendars that would be very important to you. They're all available in PDF, so you would be able to print those. So let's see if there's anything in the chat that I may have missed. I do not think so. Oh, and Alicia did just post the link to our website in the chat. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our orientation session today. So we did make it just a little early. So if anybody has any final questions, thoughts, comments that you would like to get support on or ask, please go ahead and do so. And then if not, you are free to leave. And thank you so much for attending. Make sure that you are reaching out to us if you have any questions. Again, family@ucdenver.edu is how you would be able to reach out for your family engagement options.
I have one quick comment to make. The family Facebook page is not private, it's public. So if I post a question on it, all my connections are able to see that, and they start commenting on that, and I don't think you want that.
So the family Facebook page, you're right, is public. The family Facebook group is a closed group. So make sure, and I posted both links. And it looks like Alicia posted the group. Or let me see if I can scroll up. So the group is closed. That isn't, folks shouldn't see what you're posting in there. The Facebook page, if you do comment on that, you are right. That is a public page.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions that folks might have? And then Alicia, Christy, do you have any final comments or anything?
I do. So there's a couple of things.
Oh,
So
they're coming in.
Let's see, my daughter will have a meal plan. So if you have a first year student for freshmen, they're all required to have a meal plan. So whether they're living at the Links Crossing or City Heights, every first year student is required to have a meal plan. Rob, I see your question. If my kid has an Apple laptop, will that be an issue? I actually would recommend that your student contact their department. So if they're an arts and media student, I do believe arts and media do prefer Apple. However, engineering students sometimes will be told a desktop is better, or like a Dell or something is better, and not to use Apple. So it really depends on their program. So I would encourage them maybe to connect with either the academic advisor or the department that they are pursuing their degree in. For out-of-state parents coming with their students, are there any accommodations nearby? Sandy, let me go ahead and look. There is a website that we can post for you that has a list of hotels that are available with the university discounts. Kat, when do transcripts need to be submitted? 32 okay, so transcripts should be submitted as soon as possible. So if your student just completed courses within the spring semester, really encourage them to submit those. It does take about 5 to 7 business days for those to be processed, but the sooner the better. That way it doesn't prevent any registration errors for the students. And then students should submit at the very latest transcripts the first week of September. If they don't, they will get a hold preventing second semester registration. And then my only other plug that I want to let you all know about is student billing. So again, I know Shelby did post that date for you. If you visit our website, you'll be able to get the day and time for the billing. However, your student's bill will not be available until the first week of August. During that first week of August, they will be able to set up a payment plan, and they need to start checking their CU Denver email. So they will not get anything in their mailbox at home. They will not get anything to their Gmail. All of their billing information will go to the CU Denver email, and it's only available for student to see, so they will need to log into their portal to be able to do that. Kimberly, the best way to check to see if a transcript was processed would be for your student to log into their portal. And on the bottom of their page, there's a blue button that they can click on that says degree audit. If they click on the degree audit, they can run that program and they can see how their courses have transferred in and how they have been applied. That's the easiest way for them to see. Yes, the email address for the high school transcripts is going to be admissions transcripts. I just put that in there. For FERPA, that is also done through the student portal. So once a student logs into their student portal, under their student center in the profile option, they should be able to authorize FERPA. Medical records, those may be submitted online to our health center. And let me go ahead and get that. On this link, you will just scroll down. I just put this in the chat. You will just scroll down and then there's an Auraria MMR immunization compliance form. You would start that and then upload the records there. And you do need the student ID number to be able to submit those.
Alicia,
Yes.
I just looked, you don't, for whatever reason, the link for transcripts isn't showing and neither is the one for medical records. Did you?
Oh,
I think you might have sent it privately to somebody.
I think I did. Let me,
Thank you.
here is the one for the medical records. Thank you for saying something.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then there is the one for the admissions transcript email. So I have a question that was a direct chat for the meal plan. Can she use her meal plan at Links Crossing, the Starbucks? Yes. So actually the Links Crossing is the only Starbucks location that will accept the dining dollars. So when your student is on campus and they do have their meal plan, they can use their Flex Bucks at the Qdoba located in the Student Commons, the Einsteins located just in the same connecting building to City Heights, and then they can also use it at the the Starbucks food store at Links Crossing. So those will be the 3 places they can use their meal swipes. And then before folks go, let me get the link for the hotels for accommodations.
I got that.
Oh, perfect.
Just posted that in the chat for everybody as well, with all of the preferred hotels in the CU Denver system.
Thank you. All right, and there any other questions?
I'm not seeing any in the chat. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, we are going to wrap up. Again, the email address, if you do have any questions, or if you're laying in bed later tonight and tomorrow you're like, oh, I should have asked this, please send an email to family@ucdenver.edu. And we hope that everybody has a good and happy rest of your Monday. Thank you so much for attending. Go Nuggets.